light is gleaming, trumpets flowing, wisdom streaming. Guests are jumping on the Tony Gebhard Show. The vibe is always pumping. Tune in, don't miss it. Tony's got you. Can you dig it? Headlines, insights. Whoa, catch the Tony Gebhard Show.
Hey, my friends, this is Tony Gebhard. Welcome back to the Tony Gebhard Show. It's been a little while since we've had an episode out. Took some time to get sober and spend time taking care of my own mental health and physical health in general, but we're rocking and rolling, and I'm really excited and pleased to have a new friend of mine who I've been getting to know over the past year. His name is Sean Keane, and he is the Southeast sales manager for Envision, which is the assistive technology that is widely known for the Envision glasses. In addition, he's an artificial intelligence connoisseur who runs a great community on Facebook called AI for the Blind, which I am a member of. And I got to tell you, I've taken so many new perspectives and resources from that Facebook group. It's been incredible. Sean, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. I like being here.
Yeah, fantastic. And on a Sunday too. So
yeah.
Well, let's I guess just first start off with the I think the elephant in the room for me is this Facebook group, AI for the Blind. I remember when you started it, it maybe had like 50 members in it, and now we're up to what, 1,000?
1,300, just about. It's about 1,267 last time I looked. I look every minute, so
Yeah.
Honestly, all of this started just from me being a computer nerd, like I've always been, and I kind of got into the AI craze when OpenAI came out. And fast forward to last year, I created a podcast. It's called We Speak Live.
Yeah, big shout out.
Me and another friend of mine, Will Walsh, did that, and everything just kind of melded together. It wasn't planned, it wasn't anything, but I made this group, and I was in the beginning, it was really just to support the podcast, maybe kind of be a way to promote it. And then it's kind of evolved into this AI kind of knowledge education thing. So yeah, you're right. A year ago, it was like 50 people in there, maybe. And now, we're hitting nearly 1,300, have 8 moderators and building a good team behind it, and trying to, you have to have that kind of stuff in place to keep everybody nice to each other.
You do, absolutely. And it just comes down to the, basics of human interaction in a big community like that. Now, the thing that I admire so much about the AI group is there's a bit of everything across the spectrum, from low vision to no vision at all, and even we've got representation in there with our sighted counterparts even too, which is really cool. So there's a big spread of people coming in with an interest and a voice to contribute to the cause.
Yeah, and that kind of happened by some accident too. I mean, like I said in the beginning, it was kind of an advertisement, that group, and then it's grown into this AI knowledge thing with some of the collaborations I've done with Vanderbilt and other places. So yeah, it's really, I like, and here's another thing that's kind of behind it is, have you ever watched those, the best example I can think of is like an infomercial where they're telling you about this great new ability or skill, or maybe it's some
new vacuum,
and they're always going to tell you by the end of the episode how this thing works and how you and then somehow when the commercial ends, they never finish telling you anything. So I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that guy where I'm like, oops, continued on the next episode. No, we ain't doing that.
Right. No, for sure. And, the artificial intelligence space, as we do know, has been expanding at an exponential rate, just incredibly fast. GPT just released a new version of 4.0 on August 8th. In addition, they're rolling out the new advanced voice model. Have you had access to that yet?
I haven't. OpenAI is so bizarre because I use it both on the web and on my phone. So the other day I logged in on the website and it had me relog in. I'm like, and and strangely it doesn't do that, but every like 3 weeks or so, every two. I mean, I can go. I literally open Edge or Chrome. I don't open it from a shortcut. I'll just go in there and type chat.openai.com and or hit the first couple letters and auto correct fills it in, and I go and log into the site that way. And normally I'm always logged in, but this time it had me re-log in, and so I was like, well, maybe I got something extra.
Yeah.
Well, I did, but it wasn't that. It was they finally labeled the send button on the prompt.
Oh,
They
no kidding, did they?
No kidding. So you can go to
Okay.
the edit field now and type in there and hit tab, and instead of it just saying button, it says send prompt.
Oh my
That's
God.
improvement, man.
That really is improvement. Let me go. Chat openai.com. Let's see.
If it does it for you, and like there's so many buttons in there, button, and like
Oh,
none of them
send
are labeled.
prompt. Look
Yeah.
at that. Yeah. Oh my God. That's about time they're starting to listen to our accessibility requests.
So maybe the next login, I'll get the new chat 4.0. And if that wasn't a confusing scheme, I'll say we're going to release 4.0. Now we're going to release 4 letter O.
Yeah, 4.0. Yeah, no, it was a weird naming scheme. And, you know, when I look back at the event from May that they had done, and, you know, OpenAI's had a lot of controversy in the news anyways with certain aspects of, you know, misinformation and, you know, issues on the board. And, you know, I'm not a I'm definitely no stranger to bringing up controversies. So, but it's it's interesting to see the rollout schedule, I suppose, because when they tell you, oh, this is going to be available at this time, really?
Well,
is it?
I have a theory. I have a theory on that.
Shoot it.
So, and I would love to have OpenAI's CEO or board problem where you can just get fired from one job and get another one the next hour. I mean, that would be a really great
Wouldn't that be
ability.
something, huh?
That would be awesome. But I heard what's his name? What's the
Sam
opening?
Altman?
Yeah, Sam Altman. I heard Sam Altman on a podcast, and someone asked him about Chat GPT-5, which you don't really hear anything about anymore. Nobody's talking about GPT-5, and there's a reason why, I think. And this is just my theory, my opinion, whatever. But somebody asked him about Chat GPT-5, and he said, well, we might release that in a different way. So I think we already have 5. I think this 4.0 thing is 5, and they're just releasing pieces at a time.
Yeah, little pieces of it. No, isn't it? No, aren't they doing something like with GPTQ? Like what's this? Like advanced comprehensive edition?
I hadn't heard of that. Model? That's new, and I keep up with a lot of stuff. But
do you follow Matt Wolf on YouTube?
Yeah,
he's really good.
Tools.
Future Tools. Definitely big name drop right there. Futuretools.io if you want to explore just a montage of amazing AI tools.
And the other one I'll mention that I can't, the AI breakdown. It's this guy named Nathaniel Whitmore. He's really, really sharp. He's got a I'm giving a whole bunch of shout outs here. He's got this thing, it's called Super Intelligent. You'll have to Google it, but it's called Super Intelligent, and it's a AI education platform that he's created. So that's
okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. You can pay $20 a month and get subscribed to his deal, and you get a prompt, like a lesson every day.
Uh-huh.
I'm not on there anymore. I used to be, but it's really good content, really good stuff.
Now, one of the interesting things that I've loved to talk with guests about who are in the tech space is AI generation. And I myself, I love creating images, whether it's with Meta AI on WhatsApp or it's DALL-E 3 inside of ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the biggest question is who has the best image, right? Who has the best realism? Who has the
Yeah, yeah,
best text implementation onto the photo, which, you know, arguably is still questionable right now across
yeah, yeah. It is.
all prompts. But what I've seen you post a lot in regards to AI generations, and I really enjoy them. Um, there was one that you did the other day that was really that made me laugh out loud, like a what was it, a doctor made of
Yeah, yeah.
all the letters of the alphabet or
And
some
when it,
crazy shit
and
like that.
yeah, one of my friends commented, and she totally didn't go what was going on. And when people comment like that, I just kind of have to grin and smile and just go on. And
Yeah, grin and
I
bear
want to
it.
sit there and comment and say, no, no, it's about no, don't do that. Just
Yeah,
let it go.
just let it go.
But
Yeah.
but I but I've found and I'll give you a little monologue on this because AI art is such fun. Um, and it's art to me. I mean, I don't care what anybody else says that it's the computer. I don't care. It's art to me, and
It's
it's
art.
fun,
Yeah.
and it's enjoyable. And I have a good friend, more of an acquaintance, I should say. His name is John Bramlett. He's a guy you ought to get on your podcast. I interviewed him years ago. He's a blind painter from Denton, Texas, just north of me, about 30 minutes.
Oh, no
And
kidding.
he makes, I mean, no joke. He is I didn't even know there was such a thing, but he's a United States art czar. So
You-
he gets to travel to all over the world, like promoting American art. And
Wow.
he's an artist. He's blind. He lost his vision. He could paint he could see, and he was painting growing up. And then he lost his vision to something like some disease. He lost his vision, and he was like, okay, I just figured it was over. I thought there was no way in the world I was ever going to draw or paint again.
Yeah.
And he took, and this is really an interesting concept that I'm not sure I can get my head around, but we'll see. Maybe you have some thoughts on this. But he said, I learned to use a cane, and I learned how to use assistive technology, and I learned to use my hearing. And one day I was walking from my apartment to the campus to go to college because all this happened to him when he was in the middle of being in college. So he went
Oh
blind,
man.
yeah,
What a time to
wonderful timing.
transition. My
Yeah.
God.
But he's walking to the campus and he's like, hey, I'm using this cane to navigate across this medium. How could I use touch to navigate across a canvas?
I love that. Good
And,
cross reference.
and so
Yeah.
he came up with his paint. He mixes like sand and different textures with it. And so
Okay.
he'll paint something and then grab like a dryer and dry it real quick and he can touch it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So John, all that story to tell this one line that John, his favorite thing, he'll always say this in all of his interviews, is that art is a way to deal with negative feelings.
Yes.
So anytime I'm down, I'm mad, I'm just not feeling it or something, I'll go in there and start making something. And
I love it. Oh my God, yes. And first of all,
yeah,
thank you for sharing that. John, I definitely want to get him on the TG show. That would be wonderful. And I 1000% agree. AI art is an art, especially for us, who have a harder time applying visual art, art. It gives us that freedom. We can
yeah.
visualize it. We can
Mm-hmm.
prompt it. We can describe what it is that we want to put onto a canvas. And, Dolly 3, Meta AI, Llama 3, whatever that you're using it's your assistant. It's your assistant to give you the freedom to put that image down. And, I'm going to tell you, my last 2 albums for my music have all been AI art.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's a whole new freedom. It's a whole new feeling of power and independence. And, I think there's always going to be 2 sides of the coin when it comes to the opinion and feelings towards AI generative content. music, art, logos, video, voice, text, you name it. But the way I see it is, the perspective is, if we can harness those tools in the right context, we can save exponential time. Not only this, but we can really exploit a lot of missing elements from our lives.
There's,
you know,
God, there's so much knowledge and so much education in the past 2 years that I've gained just from describing images.
yeah.
Learning things I had no clue. I mean, because I was born with glaucoma.
Okay.
From birth till about age 20, I had a little bit of vision. I could see light and color. I could see like the grass from the sidewalk, and I could maybe tell what color clothes somebody had on, but never good enough to read. If anybody remembers, well, probably nobody in your audience will remember there was a device back in the 80s called the Visual Tech, and it was the earliest version, one of the earliest versions of a CCTV.
Oh my God.
And so it was this like tube style TV that was maybe a 20-inch TV.
I was just about to say, is it the size of a truck?
And it sat on top of this camera, and you put a paper underneath it, and you'd have knobs. Yeah, we had knobs back then. It was great.
Yeah.
And you could turn the knob and make this letter D and letter C bigger. But the problem was, I'd get to the end of the line and forget what the first couple of letters were, because
Yes.
5
Right.
minutes for that's a D, and that's an R. Oh no, but and so there's a lot of things I missed out on visually, and I mean, there's some amazing imagery Facebook groups out there.
Oh, the blind, what's that one? The memes?
Not even that, just talking in general, just in everybody. So in the visual world, like I think there's a group out there called something like Amazing Beautiful Things. And I mean, I've just gotten these images. The ones that really get me is when water is still and it reflects a scene. I'm thinking,
Ooh.
That's got to look pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Or
amen.
Or a sunset in the middle of the ocean.
Yes.
That's something I never saw when I had vision. So I always thought that would be cool.
Oh man. Oh man. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and the level of detail too that these models are capable of today compared to a year ago.
Yeah.
Is so ridiculous. Like Mid-Journey, amazing. Gemini's even stepping up their game, and on the Google side.
I mainly use OpenAI for everything.
Yeah.
I used to have like 10 different subscriptions to a bunch of different things, and now I've canceled
It always
everything.
comes down to OpenAI. Yep.
Yeah.
Me too.
And
Me
I'm
too.
just like, man, you guys are the best. And it doesn't mean I get everything. Like I tried to make something this morning, and it just wasn't happening. It was a cool idea. I'll tell you what it was. Maybe you can do it.
Yep.
It was, I was thinking I get weird thoughts about like this all the time, but I was thinking how we started as humankind, we started with language, drawing symbols on a cave wall, and now we send pictures to each other.
Yeah. In a way, we're just evolving. This is just another way of human technology evolving.
I was trying to make this timeline that showed going from and I did the caveman, but then I would put like 20 different items in between the beginning and the ending was going to be showing somebody using a smartphone sending an image, in a text, and it just could not get it right. I would love to use Mid-Journey. I've been wanting to use Mid-Journey.
They brought it back. They brought the free version back.
I'll have to and I think you use it with Discord or something.
No, you don't have to anymore. They
good.
They finally migrated it to a web-based client.
Oh, good, because I've always wanted to use that one. That one's supposed to be really good. I'm hoping one of these really smart blind guys will learn how to because you can do this.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but you can run an image model on a Mac.
Yes. Yes, you can.
So you could run it on a Mac and then use one of these platforms to create a URL to it, and we could all make whatever we wanted.
Here's what I'm excited for. So did you watch the Microsoft event?
No, I
for
didn't watch
Copilot? Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. I had Copilot for a little bit.
Okay, so basically, and this is what I was rapping about with Kevin when he was on the podcast a year ago. So all of our predictions are just coming true as we
Right.
saw them. The thing that really blew me away that I think is going to be an enormous game changer on top of what already, IRA Access is doing, Be My AI on Windows and all these newer implementations of GPT-4o is Copilot is taking, a video almost, multiple frames. And the demonstration that it was doing was, Ryan, I think his name was, from Microsoft, who he was playing Minecraft. And as he was playing Minecraft, he was talking to Copilot, which is using the new, voice model, the video modal, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And it was talking to him like he was there playing the game with him, seeing every move he was making, helping him build things. And my thought, and here's my thought, right? Here's my thought is, what if we trained one of those Copilot models to give us audio description during a movie, to give us audio description during an inaccessible video game, to actually prompt it appropriately to be able to basically fill in all of the audio description gaps that we've had for so long, because that's what I forecast is going to happen in the next 6 months to a year.
I think and this was an idea I was trying to explore with ChatGPT early on, and it just needs a couple $1 million for somebody to take off with. But if you build a front end and a back end, mainly a cloud service that you have an app on your phone, and you're watching a YouTube video, and you share this URL to this YouTube video to this app, and then it goes and processes it somehow and creates the video description.
Yes.
And then just boom, you're sitting there, now you're listening to your YouTube video with the audio description, and it does it in, like, I don't know, a minute. I mean, it's not going to be instant, but it's going to take time. If I have to wait a minute, that's fine.
Yeah, it's going to take time.
But now you've made every YouTube video accessible.
Just like that. Exactly. Yeah. And now we have the technology to do it.
Yeah.
OpenAI is harnessing the exact modal to do just that. The API just needs to, like you said, the back end and some of the front end needs to be designed now to be able to do the analysis, do the browsing, do the viewing, and then do the interpreting.
Well, I don't want to lose this opportunity here. Kevin Reeves is an amazing person. He's
big
amazing
shout out,
musician.
Got to get him back on the podcast.
Yeah, I've followed Kevin since early in blind life. There used to be a radio show called NHB Radio.
And
it was run by this guy named Damon Fabrio.
Yes, I know who he is.
What happened to Damon?
In Chicago?
He was in New Jersey
at the time. Okay, I thought that was in Chicago. That's my bad.
But Kevin and all them young guys, this was back when we were all young.
Back in the day
when Liam was like 15 years old. Imagine that.
Right.
And that was the first time I'd heard Shine was on NHB Radio, and so I followed Kevin for years, and he's just a hell of a musician. I love his music.
Oh yeah.
In fact, I was floating around my pool this morning listening to Euphoria.
Yeah, there you go. My favorite tune from him is It Real? That's a good one. And he's working on a children's music album.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, been scrolling his Facebook and stuff like that. Yeah, I got to get him on the podcast. Maybe all three of us for an episode one day. That'd be fun as hell.
I'd do that.
Yeah,
do that for sure.
Yeah. So,
but the picture thing, it's just, it's a positive thing, and I've kind of created this almost way I do it. because I have an art website too. I have Art by Keen. My last name is KEEN.com. And so artbykeen.com, you
Oh, good
can,
for you.
there's AI art prints. Like people can go in there and buy a print of something I made. And I mean, it's not okay. It hadn't done great. It's not anything anybody should get excited about going to do. Um, but I might make enough to pay my service fee. That's about it. But it's, I've kind of made this my own little way of doing this. So let me describe this process. So I'll go out and make an image about some feeling I have. And then I'll take that image and I'll go and pull up Notepad and write up a little story or a little narration, or like, hey, I'm bummed out today, whatever. And then I have a special prompt that I paste that at the end of. And this prompt will, when I upload the file to ChatGPT, this prompt is basically engineered to take what I wrote and kind of turn it into almost a conversation or some kind of little thing. And then it somehow blends that conversation into the image description. So sometimes you'll see my image descriptions and it's almost like a narration or a story. And I'm basically letting AI do all of that.
Yeah, so
And
I'm on the website artbykeen.com.
yeah,
I'm looking at Spring that you
yeah,
that you put
it
up.
was, and it was picture smart now that, on JAWS or whatever.
That's it.
Yeah, you can
There
just
you
sit there.
go.
You can go right along. I mean, shopping you can do amazing stuff with that nowadays with the web.
And this is cool. Like you can select paper, metal.
Yeah,
I ought to get some of this art and plaster it on my wall. That'd be pretty good
There
for
you
the
go.
TG studio. What do you guys
Yeah,
think?
it would.
Oh, high gloss metal prints. Wow, good for you. This is really neat.
And
Yeah,
it's really easy to do. That's just a website called Art Storefront. I mean, they handle everything. All I do is upload the files.
Wow. All right. Artbykeen.com. Be able to check out Sean's official original AI art to be printed on various mediums, and yeah, be able to decorate the whole place. If you got an office, if you've got, a bedroom that you want to make look pretty. Yeah, these are great. So fantastic, dude. Hey. So, all right, let me exit out of here. So, going back to Envision. So, I want to talk a little bit about Envision.
Sure.
I've been fascinated with Envision's products. I've been fascinated because the agency that I work for, we have a third party vendor that sources Envision,
Yeah.
and Envision products, and Envision's one of the very few companies where I've never owned a product. And, of course, you're inclined to talk it up and love it to death. But, I know a lot of people really love the new Envision glasses. And I'm just wondering what you can tell us about what's coming, or what information can be discussed, if any, right now for implementations of what.
Yeah, gotcha. No, I know exactly what. And let me first say is Envision is just a really nice company to work for. I mean, they're really a good group of people. Karthik Mahadavan, Karthik Cannon, they're just great people. I got to meet him the first time at CSUN. So I got this job with Envision March 1st, and I kind of like to say AI kind of helped me get a job. I mean, you still have to be able to sell yourself and be able to communicate and everything, but I used AI to update my cover letter and resume and everything. This is all public knowledge.
Which, by the way, congratulations on getting that job.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big accomplishment for me, because before that, I mean, I'm pretty I'm pretty upbeat, but before I didn't even think it was a possibility. So
sure.
getting that kind of a boost, I mean, that was incredible, and it's really great to work with a great group of people, and I've learned so much, and my life has gone from great to amazing, and in 5 months, and it's just a lot of it's life lessons. A lot of it's just learning stuff you just never had any idea of or any of that. But Envision makes a really cool product. I had seen it before I joined the company. I actually had a demo glass. The demo glasses I had before I joined Envision when I worked for the state of Texas were the same glasses I have now. I mean, I've seen a lot of technologies. I've seen Orcam. I've seen different things over the years and different technologies. So I kind of have a base. I mean, I started out as an assistive technology trainer like you, and that was kind of my bread and butter that to move into this field. But the technology has just, and really it's been the last 2 years that I think it's all kind of come to a head. Envision is doing some really cool stuff now, and people are going to be really shocked in about a month to see something that comes out.
Oh, there it is.
That will be, and I'm not saying what. I'm not saying
right.
What.
You can't say what.
It might not even be what you're thinking, but
that NDA's got you.
But I think people will be really excited about that. The one thing I can tell you about is we have an assistant. It's the Envision Assistant. And if you go to envision-assistant.com, you can sign up for the beta test program. I think they have like 1,000 beta testers, and they're about to make it a public beta.
Envision.assistant.com.
Assistant.
Yep.
Envision-assistant.com. And it's a really cool idea because it takes this whole, because if you think of Envision glasses, you have a device that you can scan with, you can read instant text with, you can turn on the camera and just any text that comes in frame, it'll read. You got barcodes, you got QR codes, you got a light detector, and then you got IRA. So they were looking for kind of a way to bring all of these tools together into one.
Right.
And so the concept is this Envision Assistant program, it's an app. It's going to be an app on the iPhone. It's already on the iPhone. They have an Android version as well. And they're also building some kind of plugin that's going to go in maybe something like Chrome or Edge.
Oh.
And also on the Mac. So it's going to be on all the platforms, including the glasses. And the glasses version is going to be this conversational, voice-activated assistant that you can just walk around and talk to. So, use case, you're at the mall and you're standing in front of a sign. You could say, "Can you read this to me?"
Oh, I love it.
And it knows to take a picture and then run the OCR and tell you what that says.
Right. So you don't have to be like really specific in what you command it to do. Kind of like just what we've seen across so many devices for so many years. Like, hey, ... take photo. Hey, ... take photo. Blah, blah, blah. You can be more casual and approachable with it. Almost like a person.
And it was awesome because I literally joined in March and we started having these meetings in April. And Karthik was telling us about it at CSUN, and he's posted, there's a lot of videos up there, there's a lot of information on that website, and there's a lot of info out there. Maybe I'm just bringing it all together into one, but it was cool because I've been thinking ever since this technology came out that I love the aspect of nerding out and having chat GPT conversations. I love the idea of making images and describing. I mean, you too. I mean, you do great stuff, and I do great stuff with this. But the general public doesn't want to do all that.
No,
they don't. They don't want to know how it works. They just want it to work. Period.
Right.
Grandma and my Aunt Jane or whatever, she doesn't want to know that Dolly 3 could do this or describe this image. She just wants to be able to say, can you describe what, or something, what this really? I mean, and that's the other hurdles. Since you have a conversational agent, you have a conversational assistant. And that's the other thing with the assistant on the apps right now. You can give it a description. You can give it 2 prompts to start with. So you have a settings screen in this app. And in the settings screen, you have a about me section. And so the about me is your prompt. Like, I'm a blind guy. I've never seen colors, so they don't really mean anything to me. So when you describe things, don't use colors.
Right.
And so that's your prompt. The AI's prompt is maybe something like respond as Jim Carrey would. And or as a perfectionist, or whoever you want the persona to be, you can put that for the AI. And so from then on, when you're interacting with this assistant, it's responding, you're communicating the way you want.
Yeah.
And so Grandma Carrie could say, help me,
right.
whatever.
Right. And I think that's what we're lacking right now.
Yeah.
Is AI awareness and AI education. Barely exists. Barely exists. And I'm glad that you bring this up. I have a couple things to throw at you, but I'll preface it with this. Is in the agency that I work for, we have how I guess you could say a soft skill approach to AI, but we don't have a hard skill approach to AI.
Right.
And I recently, not to toot my own horn, I recently got an award from the state for innovative and educational materials in artificial intelligence, because what I saw when I came into the agency was a complete absence of artificial intelligence for the blind. And it blew me away that we're not talking about Be My AI. We're not talking about ChatGPT and how to make things HIPAA appropriate if we utilize this content. All it comes down to is, look, remove this, remove that, remove this. It takes prompting. It takes a little bit of common sense. And we could use this to save hours and hours and hours and hours of work for what it's worth. And as long as you expunge the documentation and work that we do of all of its PHI, we have no problem. It then becomes a free land to exploit and make very, very proficient, not only for employees, but also clients as well. To give you an example, I have a client who works for another state agency who I visit every week, and they've been using Be My AI. I showed them Be My AI and how to use it with inaccessible documents in their agency, and it reads handwritten text. It describes it in immaculate detail. Nothing that the OrCam could do. Nothing that most OCR technologies can do right now. So and here's what I'm going to throw at you. I'm looking at throwing an event at some point within the next year to for Southern Oregon individuals. I just name dropped my agency. I'm probably going to cut that out. No, people are going to know. But I'm throwing an event next year at some point for these individuals, and I really want to bring in an AI expert to and also a vendor for a wonderful company such as Envision to come in and do some promotional materials for Envision products, but also really talk about this whole AI thing. And I feel like if we get that conversation started more and really start pouring in to other people's cups and showing them, hey, it's not scary. This isn't scary. This isn't robots coming to take your soul and replace humanity as is. You know what I mean? I think it'd be great.
That's something I've kind of been working on anyway. And I mean, I worked for state agencies too. I worked for Texas Workforce before March 1st, before I joined the Envision team. So it's funny, I went through from being a state employee to a manufacturer's rep,
Yeah.
in a day. But I used AI throughout, my time at TWC. I can tell on myself now. I'd use it to write reports. I would use it for that. I had a coworker that came from another country and spoke a different language and had a really difficult time keeping up because all the paperwork, all the rehab paperwork, it's pretty in depth.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of policy, right?
Right.
There's a lot of stuff in there. So I would start using ChatGPT to translate my emails and send it to her I would translate the entire report into her language so she could read it right. Because if I didn't, I was going to get behind and she was going to get behind and they were all going to get yelled at. So, it helped her, it helped me. And so that, and I would talk, and I kind of got to be known as a little bit of an AI nut or guru or whatever you want to be there. But there was a lot of, I don't know, old fear. A lot of people that were over 50, we'll say, and this were anti, everything you can imagine. I'm just like, oh my God. But they weren't blind. So they didn't get it. They didn't have that experience to come from. And it doesn't matter how much you show them, they still won't get it.
Right.
Because like I said, I've learned so much just about, okay, I was on a trip. There's so many different, you give me so much to think about here. But I was in a hotel with Envision in Louisiana. And so I was taking scene descriptions with the Envision glasses. I'm looking around eating breakfast at this little restaurant, and it keeps talking about mosaics. And so I finally said, "Can you describe what a mosaic is?" And we just kind of had a little conversation there with the scene description part of the Envision glasses about what mosaics are and how you make them, and like really detailed stuff. And so for me, there's been a lot of education on just the visual world, and that's a lot of stuff that the people that maybe are sighted and just don't understand the hype behind AI is that now I have access to the same information you do, the same information that anybody else without a vision problem can see. And even I'm sure there's sighted people out there that don't understand the visual world too. I'm sure they see stuff too that's like, what? What's that?
That's probably because they're too lost in reading Reddit.
It could be. It could be. It could be. So in Envision and everything else, because you were talking about people educating people about AI. I cover a 16-state area. I'll list the states I cover. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Delaware, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and Puerto Rico.
Wow.
That's a big area.
That is.
It's actually about 90 million people. And there's statistics that, I'm really data driven. So, that's relatively speaking, that's about 2 million blind people for that whole area.
Yeah.
And, so that there's a different way of thinking of things when you work in sale, as a manufacturer's rep versus just an end user. As I was before March 1st, just a regular blind guy.
Yeah.
There's a whole other world about the agencies and how they work and how they don't work. Yeah, just a
Sure.
lot of
No,
stuff there.
absolutely. And I can definitely say the same. I was working with a nonprofit before I
Me too.
start, but yeah, so I was working for a nonprofit before I started working for the government. It's the same thing. You pay attention to a lot of metrics and statistics, and it makes you really open up more and kind of carve away that old mentality, like, oh, statistics are, mute and off. But I disagree with that now, because statistics help us measure what we need to do in order to reach them, reach those people, reach the new educational goals, and set expectations, and set a new standard for the country as is, to embrace and accept artificial intelligence. Or
Well, and so getting back to those numbers, and these are relative, like very, I'm being very general here, so don't anybody get me on statistics because these are not official or anything.
actually, you're right.
Somebody's going to listen and says, actually, yeah,
I know,
I'm
yeah.
going to get a lot of actually comment. But generally, blindness I've read is about 1% of the population. And so I figure with 90 million people, that's about 2 million people. But really, once that the population that gets help from maybe rehab or the VA is about 1% of that 1%. So really, there might be 250,000 blind people in Texas,
Right,
a state with a population of nearly 30 million people.
right.
And
God,
so
has Texas really grown that much?
I know, isn't that wild?
Holy shit. I remember when I was looking at stats from 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, Texas was maybe like 15 million, 14 million, whatever.
Yeah, now
And
it's doubled.
now it's the population of California from 20 years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
That's so crazy.
yeah. And it's just you got that
Man.
bubble of people that and really, I mean, here's a really another disturbing thought is that it's a very small percentage of people that work through the system through
Yeah.
VR or get services. It's unfortunate, and there's just not enough people in these fields. I mean, there's heavy turnover in these fields, and it's just not enough people. There's not enough trainers. I mean, we
No.
need technology trainers in Texas like crazy.
Yeah. No, for
Um,
sure.
I mean, we need rehab teachers. I mean,
There is a
now
need. Yes, there is a need right now. And last thing I want to bring up
but
oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I was still trying to get through this, and I'm nearly done. I know I talked forever.
No, you're
Sorry.
good. Go ahead, please.
So, I mean, like Dallas, Texas alone, there's 4 rehab teacher spots for that one city. So there's definitely need for if you go into school, you want to do something, go into blind. I mean, you may not be a king or be sitting on a gold mine or something, but it's a good. You're really helping people, and so there is definitely a need for this AI education. And I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago in my AI group. I got a group of people I'm working with on this, and we're trying to build like an e-course to market towards rehab or really any educator that works with blind people that teaches people the basics of AI and how the prompting works and how computer vision prompting works for all these. Because now we got different apps. We have Ira Access, which is my favorite, Be My Eyes, Envision, Chat GPT, Seeing AI. We have all these different apps. We have all these different devices. Then we got JAWS. Everything now is going to have AI built into it in some fashion or not. I have this other device sitting here on my desk. It's called Real Sam Pocket. It's his phone. It's got AI in it as well. And so the problem with being an educator in the blindness field is if you're a teacher of the visually impaired, for example, so you work with blind children, in a K-12 school system. A lot of those people, a lot of those teachers go to school and get a degree in teaching, and then they get their certification, their master's in visual impaired teaching. That's not a technical term, but what they don't get is technology training. They don't learn how to use JAWS in college. They don't learn how to use a braille display. They're supposed to learn that outside of school.
Yeah.
So, a lot of school districts would be happy to buy a course that taught everybody the basics of AI and how to do it.
Let's go. Yes.
Let's do it.
I'm in full support. And when it comes down to it, please let me know once this, if you're looking for beta testers, throw that out there. If you're looking for someone to just overall just do a quick overview of it, I would be more than happy to write a proposal to implement it within the agency that I work for. No questions asked.
Yeah, I need to look up who Alaska. Are you in?
I'm not in Alaska anymore.
You're not. Okay.
No, I moved out of Alaska. I moved down to Oregon.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Jim Portillo.
I got out of Jim. Oh man,
Jim,
what a
Jim.
guy!
Yeah,
what a guy!
Yep.
Yeah, he's now working for us. He's doing great. I won't say too much, but yeah, he's doing fantastic things up in Portland. And I got to meet him back in March when I flew up there, and just all around great guy. Everybody in this agency is very progressive and very in my opinion, what a blind rehab agency should be.
That's good. It's a hard field. It's people. I mean, if you're getting services from, and understand, I've been on this. I've been a customer. I've been all those things, and I've been mad when my counselor don't call me back, or it takes 3 years to get something done. But that's a very underappreciated field. It is
a very, and going back to one thing you were talking about the demand, yes, there is a significant demand for rehab positions, whether it's assistive tech, orientation and mobility, especially orientation and mobility, independent living, culinary. There's just a huge need for it, whether it be in the blindness field or just general independent living centers across the U.S. People need other people right now. So definitely validate and echo what you said. If you're interested in public service and really want to dedicate your life into education, there is a market for it. There's a network for it. And there are plenty of metrics that says you can make a good living doing it. So definitely explore that with your vocational counselors, or check out some labor market research online with various job metrics websites. Here in Oregon, we have qualityinfo.org, which is really nice. You can go there and check out some labor market research in different industries and the pays that support them. But
so if you're sitting at home right now listening to the Tony Gebhard podcast, you can call your VR counselor tomorrow and say, "Hey, I got a vocational goal now. I want to be a rehab teacher.
Woo, let's go.
Help me?" So they'll help you. They'll pay for it.
They will pay for it.
Go do it tomorrow.
Yes, they will pay for it. Trust me. And there's plenty of schools and certifications around the country. Yep. World Services for the Blind is a great one.
Arizona. Eric Yarberry. I met him at ACB. Eric Yarberry.
Oh, hell of a guy, too.
Hell of a guy.
Yeah, I can't believe he moved up to CEO.
I know.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Because before that, I think he was doing college prep, wasn't he?
He was a technology trainer, and before him, Sharon
Giovinazzo.
Oh, yeah. Good. You said it.
And she's so funny. She's hilarious.
Great. Sharon, you're gonna have to. You should tag everybody in the world on this podcast. But Sharon, I tell you what, she was at ACB, and I was walking through the lobby of the hotel headed to the bar, and Sharon was standing there in the line. I was talking to somebody else, and she just recognized my voice and just said, "Hey, Sean." I'm like, "Hey, Sharon." But she makes you feel good. I just like having her in the room. She makes me feel upbeat just being in the room. She's
got a great aura. I agree, 1000%. And to the whole team at World Services for the Blind, they do amazing things, and you can check them out at wsblind.org. And really quick with that website from earlier, envision-assistant.com. We'll make sure all those links are put in the show notes. But Sean, why don't we wrap things up? I just want to first of all say thanks so much for coming on and having this conversation with me. I definitely think we should do this again and again. Because the space of technology is the most evolving space there is in our industries, and there's always so much more to explore. So, if you were to share a last little tidbit piece of advice for the skeptic unsure on this artificial intelligence, what would you say to persuade them?
Okay, that's a good. Let me start talking here, and then I'll think of something good. I'm sure. No, actually, having a good idea. But it's funny because I don't think we met. No, I'm pretty sure we hadn't met, but we've been in the same place before because I didn't hear this live. I wasn't in the audience for this, but it was the NFB convention. Maybe it was in Orlando. It was either in Orlando or it was in Vegas. It was when you and Jason Meadow sang that song by
Funeral by Lucas Graham.
Yeah,
that was in Orlando. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I heard the recording of that, and then I got hooked on that because, like, if I find a song I like, I just get hooked on it for like.
My voice was so dead when I sang that too.
And so I went and like hooked on that song for like a year or something.
It's a good one. It makes you feel good about dying.
It does. Yeah, yeah. Kind of like, I can get in a suit. I'll be all right.
I'll be all right. Give me a tuxedo when I die.
Yeah.
Up daisies.
But I heard that and I followed you off and on just kind of through the years. You remind me of me when I was young, or maybe when I'm old. I don't know. But here's two things. Here's a good blind line to use when you get a little older. Is and you can use it now. Somebody says, "Have you been blind all your life?" You can say, "Not yet."
Not yet.
And so
that's a good one.
The skeptics of AI, the people that are like, I just don't believe in that. I just, I can't get my head around it. Here's my challenge to you. So if you've never used OpenAI, never used AI for anything, go try this. Think of the one question you've always had that you've never been able to get an answer for, and ask AI that question. And that will you will be, and I promise you, I don't even know what the question is. I don't know what you'll ask, but the answer you will get will be amazing. And
that's that. Ask and you shall receive.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
So check out artbykeen.com. Okay. Check out let'senvision.com. Check out envision-assistant.com. And once you're done .com, and head over to Facebook and subscribe to AI for the Blind, and come talk to us about AI and what you're doing, because that's like the number one thing. If I don't do anything else with that Facebook group, I want to hear what everybody else is creating. I want to hear what everybody else is coming up with.
There you go. Love it. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sean. This has been the Tony Gebhard Show. Music, motivation, and positively obnoxious. We'll see you in the next episode.